Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to the ChatGTM podcast. It's Michael Beck and Chad Horn reporting to you live here from the Prosper Accelerate Conference in Dallas, Texas at the beautiful Omni Hotel. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Reggie Stover with Henny, Penney. Reggie, first off, thank you, man, so much for taking the time with us. I met you at the Prosper Forum and again at the last Prosper Forum. What a show. What an organization.
Phenomenal. First of all, thank you and Chad for having me, but absolutely. Prosper is just continuing to evolve and exceed expectations in terms of what I even imagined it could be.
Yeah.
And what I imagined it would be was an opportunity for up-and-coming emerging leaders to have exposure to C-suite leaders and other people senior to them, not only in the hospitality and restaurant industry, but in some of the food equipment sectors that also provide that equipment to the food industry and the hospitality industry, like a Henny, Penney. Give them that exposure to C-suite leaders and give them the opportunity to just gain knowledge from those leaders to add to their toolbox and then be able to take that back and use that in some type of way to improve their own leadership skills.
Yeah, it even reminds me of the speaker we just had, Ryan, right? And he talked about the difference between wisdom, right, and knowledge.
Yes.
And I think there's so much wisdom that comes out of this place, right? But before we go any further, Reggie, we know you're with Henny, Penney. What's your role with the organization?
So I'm the Chief People Officer. It's a role that I absolutely am humbled to have.
Yeah.
Leadership in and of itself, in any role, not just the Chief People Officer role, is an opportunity really to serve others. And in the Chief People Officer role, I get to do that with every individual employee down to the front line, up to the CEO and our board.
Yeah.
So I'm the Chief People Officer at Henny, Penney, providing service to our employees in talent acquisition, compensation and benefits, performance development, social responsibility, community activity, philanthropy, communications, risk, everything that's encompassing or is a part of human resources.
Well, without great people, businesses fail.
Absolutely.
Right? And before we go too much further on this, I also would like to understand, I mean, sending somebody like you, who is in charge or responsible for, better way to say it, of so many people, every minute that you're not at the office or working, that's time that's probably away from your business. And so Henny Penney's made a real investment, even provisioning you to come here, to be here, to make that commitment. Tell me a little bit about the commitment that Henny Penney's made to their people, the development of it, this organization.
Absolutely. So I do want to say this. The commitment Henny Penney has made not only to allow me to come here, is the investment in allowing our accelerators to come here.
Yes, absolutely.
So although the company is investing in me to come to this as well, I think the bigger investment is in our emerging leaders and the Prosper Accelerators, at least for my team, and I'm sure with all the other people that are here. So the reason I'm taking this approach is I'm here to support them. I want to ensure that they have a good understanding of just what this investment is, that they kind of take away not only nuggets for them, but what I kind of am envisioning for them to take away. And that investment says a lot about what Henny Penney is willing to do and the length they're willing to take to not only allow them to attend this thing, but get them exposed to other people in the industry. I mean, we have competitors here, but at the same time, we have a lot of our customers here. Our top 5 customers, the KFCs, the McDonald's, the Wendy's, the Chick-fil-A's, the Inspire brand type organizations, they are represented here, and some of our competitors like Middleby, for example. So just to allow our employees that we see as high potential emerging leaders to gain insight from being present at something like this is a huge investment by Henny Penney.
Your statement right there almost highlights that phrase, but at this level we don't compete, we collaborate.
That's exactly
right. I think it's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
Chad?
Reggie, you mentioned any leader is by definition a leader of people.
Absolutely.
And I mean, the Prosper mission seems to resonate with all of us, all leaders.
Yeah.
But as the chief people officer, that focus on people, what do you think you get out of or see in the value of Prosper that others might miss?
Man, that is an incredible.
He always has the good questions.
Man, so
I love a good question.
You stumped me with that one a little bit. So, what do I see that others might miss? I think what I see really is the long-term impact in the short term, if that makes sense. Short term, because this thing, it goes very quickly. This Prosper Accelerate Conference, we have the breakouts, we have the featured guest speakers, so much knowledge and information shared in a very small period of time. That's the short term.
Yeah.
The long term is that I see is those nuggets that will hit you after you leave the conference that you can then reflect on,
right?
Percolate, reflect on how you can take that back into your organization like a Henny Penney, utilize that as part of your development and add it to your toolbox to further accelerate your growth. I don't know if everybody's looking at it from that way, so I hate to say they may be missing that. I think for me, I'm always looking bigger picture. And again, for Henny Penney, it's about the long-term growth of these individuals and this investment we're making in them. Maybe one of our accelerators want to be the chief people officer. Maybe one of our accelerators want to be the CEO. We have our chief innovation, engineering, and technology officer here, Suresh Iyer. Maybe one of them want to be Suresh Iyer. We have our SVP of marketing and product strategy here, Cynthia Jean. Maybe one of those accelerators want to be her. So that long term, I think for me, they may be missing that this is just not a conference just to do the breakouts and listen to guest speakers
stuff
and sell stuff. No, it's much bigger than that. It is about the long-term growth and development of emerging leaders.
Beautiful.
How long have you been involved with this organization, and how'd that get started?
Henny Penney?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So Henny Penney is very interesting. I've worked in a couple of different industries. Most recently, prior to Henny Penney, I was in healthcare. I was the chief people and employee experience officer of Boston Children's Hospital. COVID hit. Believe it or not, I was commuting back and forth from Boston to Cleveland weekly. And so once COVID hit, it was a opportunity for me to step back and reflect on family, where I am, what I want to do next with my career.
Important.
And well, I got to be honest, healthcare and the role I was in was significantly important because you're really impacting people's lives from a healthcare standpoint.
But it's hard to trump the family.
It definitely is hard to trump the family. So that gave me an opportunity to step back. And at the time, I just needed to be in Ohio or closer to Ohio. And this opportunity came up. I interviewed for it. I had never heard of Henny Penney, did not know all the intricacies that really take place in the restaurant industry. Henny Penney is a big part of that. And then, unbelievably, Henny Penney had gone without a chief human resource officer or chief people officer for over a year.
Wow.
So it gave me the opportunity to come in. I like putting my fingerprints over the organization, and the role just so happened to be one in which I could do that. And fortunately for me, they hired me, and it's been good.
So, Reggie, since you've led people at multiple companies, what's the same, like when you approach a new role, what's the same about people, company, and really what's different? Like Henny Penney, the things you got to think about are different here.
Another great question. So what's really the same and different at the same time? People in general are fickle. I don't mean that negatively. I mean, the thing that really gets me up in the morning is every day I go to work, I'm going to encounter a different perspective from one of our employees because each and every one of those employees are different. And the really interesting thing, when you talk about human resources and the employee experience is uniquely different for each and every employee.
Yeah.
You think you got a problem with your pay, that is a major issue for you.
Yep.
You got a problem with your benefits, you know what, I don't care about his pay issue. I got an issue with my benefits.
Yep.
And there's another employee like, man, I'm not thinking about benefits or pay. I want to get promoted.
It's
It could
personal.
be any one of those things.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I'm trying to answer it in one. I think it's uniquely different and uniquely the same. Uniquely different because each one of the employees are going to be different. Uniquely the same is because each one of those employees' employee experience is very, very important to them, which makes it different every day for me.
Yeah.
Well, it almost lines up with what Cindy was saying, right? We're more alike than we are different.
Absolutely.
It still lines up,
Yeah,
right?
man, that's a good connection.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, that honestly,
Sin
hands
Marshall.
down one of my favorite.
Yeah, she's
speakers.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about your origin at Henny Penney. Was it you and your team that made the first moves with Prosper, or was this an existing relationship prior to your arrival?
No, had no relationship with David Job, did not know who David Job was, do not know how David Job got my email address.
Probably Hattie.
He sent me an email, and we all are inundated with email.
Oh, yeah.
It's typically something I probably would have deleted because I did not know him.
Yeah.
And then, for whatever reason, I started reading through it, and he was explaining what this vision was and what this mission was for Prosper. And he said, hey, I understand Henny Penney is going to be at NRA, the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago.
Yeah.
Listen, would you have 10 minutes for me to just stop by and make an introduction?
Oh, you were done.
I didn't know that at the time.
Your goose was cooked.
And of course, we were going. I said, sure.
Yeah.
The day that David, I had never seen him. He had never seen me. The day he showed up, he apparently said, hey, who is Reggie Stover? He came to our Henny Penney booth. Somebody pointed me out. And just so happened, our CEO at the time, Rob Conley, who is now our chairman of the board, he was there too. I introduced him to David. David went into this quick pitch about Prosper.
Right.
Rob listened and said, hey, why don't you connect with us after the conference?
Yep.
We'll do a Zoom, a Teams call, and you can lay this out for us.
Yeah.
To Rob's word and to David's word, David followed up a week after. Rob and I had a 30-minute meeting with him. Rob, 20 minutes into it, Rob said, let's do this, Reggie. This is the right thing to do. So it was a call made by our CEO at the time, Rob Conley, now our chairman, that he felt this was a great way for Henny Penney not only to support the emerging leaders in our organization, but to support the vision and mission of setting a better table.
Well, you even said it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
Right? Love that.
Yep.
Jen?
Reggie, are you at the point, I mean, because this is a AI era, are you at the point where you're thinking of AI
I know they pop up any minute.
as team members from a people perspective? Like you people on the team, resources, get things done. Are you thinking at the point of thinking of AI as a team member like some are?
So that's a challenge one for me, and I don't want people to interpret this incorrectly, but I don't see AI as a team member. I see AI as a tool and a resource to help my team members be more effective.
Yeah.
I don't think we can ever replace the team member, but I do think a tool like AI significantly helps us improve the learning capability and the growth of real team members. AI is it's artificial intelligence, right? It is a tool, it is a resource that, in my opinion, can never replace the team member, but certainly can assist the team member.
Very good.
Back to the event a little bit. So far, we've been here for 2 days, right? What's been your favorite moment? Favorite speaker? And just that comes to mind right now, because it's like saying what's your favorite song, favorite band. It's what happens to pop up. I'm sure there's other different moments that are your favorite in that moment, but who comes to mind right now, and what was the topic?
I am a believer in self, and I'm not trying to be, how do I say, overconfident in this, but my best session thus far was the session I facilitated.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it was not because of myself or the speakers, but because of the topic.
Okay.
So Greg Creed and Josh Preen of I believe it's Big Chicken.
Yep, Josh Halpern.
Josh Halpern, I said it incorrectly. Both of those individuals, Greg and Josh.
Chipotle? Is he former Chipotle?
He is former CEO of a couple of companies, Young being one of them.
Okay.
Both big personalities, both very experienced in their area. But the topic we talked about was hard truths, the discipline of leadership. And it's about asking those tough questions and dealing with those behind the scene things that you have to deal with people when you're in a leadership role. Low performers, that happens in the workplace. The issues that people bring into the workplace. The sometimes having to tell people no or give them unpleasant news. All the things that people find hard to talk about when you're managing and leading people. We talked about that. So that was my most interested and favorite one, because some people, they don't like to be vulnerable. They don't want to be the one to put that on the table, ask that question. And some leaders don't want to be, they want to be liked. Every leader is not always going to be liked.
No.
And you have to be comfortable with that. I want to make sure I do what's right. I want to make sure I'm firm, fair, consistent, and hold people to a high level of accountability. And that is what that panel was about, and that's why I enjoyed it.
What was an aha moment from that you might have been surprised on?
I would say an aha moment for me is when both Josh and Greg talked about their own vulnerabilities and making the transition from individual contributor to leadership. That is always very challenging. Even though the three of us have probably been in that situation, it still was an aha moment, because when you're in it and going through it, a lot of us are maybe not thinking about it as much, and you're probably a little scared and nervous. But when they explained their challenges from going to individual contributor and leader, and how they had to deal with people who were their peers yesterday or the day before, and now the next day they're leading that group, that was an aha moment as I reflected back on my own transition going through that time frame.
Love that. Thank you. Chad?
When we think about leaders, for even the most senior leaders, what's the most reoccurring blind spot that comes up at the very top of organizations?
I would say a blind spot that continuously comes up with leaders, even though they don't say this, they think they can do it all themselves.
Oh boy.
Now, again, they won't openly admit that, but by the sheer fact, most of us as leaders got to the point where we are being somewhat individualistic and taking the bulls by the horn. It's easy to slip back into that. I think you have to be very intentional about, I have a team here to help me, and I need to rely on those teams, because leaders need that space to think and strategize and set the vision. But sometimes it's easy for us to slip back until I can do this myself, or I'm going to make that decision myself.
Rope burn is a real thing.
You said it. That's exactly it. And ultimately the decision is yours, but man, it is very, very prudent thing to get as much input, feedback, data points you can before you make that decision. And I'm equating that to, hey, I can do it myself. No, rely on all your resources, your team, to really get your thoughts together to make these critical decisions that need to be made.
When you jump in for others, that's actually sending a message that you don't really trust their work, right? You're not empowering them. You're saying I can do it myself, and you probably aren't going to do it right. And you're sending a really strong message.
Well, you're definitely sending a strong message, but sometimes, believe it or not, you're not even thinking about, I don't trust them. I think about this movie called Malice. It was a great movie.
Good movie.
And I think some leaders have this God complex sometimes where they think
only I can save the day.
That's exactly it. So I wouldn't necessarily, even though what you're saying could be true, it may be true, I think sometimes leaders, they literally feel like I can do it all myself. But the really successful, good servant leaders, they understand the value of entrusting, empowering, and counting on others to help you make informed decisions and to lead the organization.
I think that opens up a really good point. So in the military, I'm prior service, there's always a path to leadership. There's primary leadership courses they give you in order to progress you to that next level, to lead troops, to move from a sergeant to a first sergeant, and to be responsible for people. And it feels like some opportunities sometimes are missed is that a high performer is not, or a high performing individual contributor is not necessarily going to be a good leader because they might not be equipped for that. They may be the biggest salesperson or the best this or that, but they haven't been equipped by the organization to condition them for the things they need to know, the emotional intelligence they need to have, and to position them. And it feels like this is part of what we're doing here.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you look at your own journey, who set you up for success? Who gave you that leadership style and the ability to lead people and be conscious of their needs and be really that servant leader that we know you are?
Well, very interestingly, so I'm ex-military too.
Okay.
So
what'd you serve in?
I served in the Army.
Me too.
And infantry, follow me.
Yeah.
So mine, it came a little bit by trial and error that I was thrust into a situation transparently where I had to become a leader. So I'm
call that battlefield promotion.
I'm the oldest of 5 boys in a single parent home raised by a mother. I always wanted to set the right example and the right tone for my younger siblings. So it was a combination of things. It was a combination of that situation. It was a combination of sports and a combination of a will to win at every damn thing that I do. So highly competitive. When you put that situation I was thrust into, along with sports and just a competitive nature, that drove my determination in terms of just wanting to be successful and be that leader. But you threw another word in there, which is servant leadership. And I think that was acquired just through meeting some very key people in my life. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mitch Albom. He has this book. He's a sports writer, but he has this book called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. It's an incredible book. The reason I bring that up is that I've met people along the way, and the book talks about these 5 people that you meet in heaven that play this influential part on your life. I've had those people in my life. My mother's brother, my Uncle Calvin, was one of the first people who really, from a manhood standpoint, really started to help me understand things and got me interested in basketball and sports. And then this priest, Father Mike. Father Mike got me interested in the church, got me interested in Catholicism. And then it was this guy named Mike Moran, who was my high school coach. Really played a significant part as a father figure. And then there was this guy, Dick Sattel, who is ex-military, who happened to be in HR, gave me my first opportunity to work at a company like GE. But these 4 people were all very humble, all very giving, all very nurturing, all not willing to take any type of accolades. They felt dealing with or helping a guy like me was just the right thing to do. And then it was this guy, Victor Dixon, who actually I met when I took my first corporate job, and he was the gentleman, African-American male, who just was all about his family, all about his faith, all about helping empower to grow other people in a very humble way. Those 5 people total really showed me a whole lot about being a servant leader, being humble, not making things about you, just giving back.
Yeah.
And when I say giving back, I'm not necessarily talking about money or things like that. In the role that we three serve, how are you pouring back into people? How are you really taking what you've learned, military or other, and utilizing that to make a difference? They really showed me how to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Very well.
Jen?
Very well.
So there's a picture of another kind of leader out in the world, like the individualist. You used that word earlier. Ruthless. Claw their way to the top and lead through those tactics. The opposite of being a servant leader. Is that a myth? Do those leaders? I mean, or does that work in the sense of getting people to the top, even if they don't stay there, they're miserable, etc. How do you think about that persona?
I definitely do not think that's a myth. I think those individuals are real, and it is a short-term thing for the individuals who approach it that way. You can rise to the highest office in the nation, and do it through a lot of ruthless and cunning ways. But you also heard the book, "What Got You There Won't Get You There." I believe we all will pay for what we do at some point.
Yeah.
The bill always comes due.
It always comes due, and I like how you said that. We're always going to have to pay for what we've taken in some form or fashion. So I do believe it's not a myth. I do believe it's real. I do believe that people like that rise to very high levels. They become rich, they become powerful, they lead a lot of people, but eventually everything is going to come due.
Yeah.
Then there's that flip side of those people who have scratched their way and climbed their way to the top by doing everything that's right, being humble, being a servant, giving back when they don't even have a lot to give. Those people, the bill is going to come due for them, in which they're going to be supersized and significantly rewarded. So I believe both happen. I believe both can be successful, but I believe in the very, very end, both are not going to get the same thing.
A different
100%.
reward,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I know we've asked you for about 30 minutes. We're coming up to the end here, and probably got to land the plane in a minute. But for the event and the people that are so gracious to have had us here and invite us to be part of this journey, thinking about how many years you've been doing the Prosper?
3 years now.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you've seen people come through here, and you've seen people come back repeatedly. How's that feel when you saw the Bambi slipping on ice, a newbie coming through,
These nice analogies.
and then walking through strong and proud and empowered, and now taking the tools they've been given? How's that make you feel to be part of something this special?
Tremendous, because you see that growth. That Bambi analogy is a beautiful one, because you literally do see some people come to these conferences, they're very timid, even though they've been identified as leaders, they are mild-mannered, very, off in the back a little bit.
Yeah.
But then when they start to listen to a St. Marshall or Ryan Leak, they start to listen to a Bernie Banks, or they listen to a Sarah Jamidi, and I may have said her name incorrectly. It's hard to pronounce.
Sorry, Sarah.
But she's phenomenal. She knows who she is. She's with the No Kid Hungry program.
Oh, yes.
My point is, look at these different places they are within their respective organizations. The way they communicate and share their stories lets you know somebody in there is saying, wow, that's me.
Yeah.
Wow, I was like that. Or wow, I'm glad one of them shared that story with me.
Yeah.
That makes me feel that I can do the same. I can open up. So I feel very good to have been fortunate enough to participate in this Prosper thing for the past 3 years, to witness the evolution or the growth. or the prospering.
And you saw the birth of this
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. It has gotten huge. So it's a good feeling to let you know, going back to your first question, the investment is well worth the investment by my company and certainly for the other organizations here. But then the growth of the individuals, in many instances, after attending the session for the 3-4 days we're having it, they leave different.
Yeah.
They leave different. So it makes me feel great to see that.
Chad?
Ryan Leake shared that the best book isn't the one you just enjoyed the reading. It's the one you actually apply.
Oh.
You bring in your own. So
Here it comes.
that
Another great question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask your favorite book. Like, what do you look for in an event, in a session, that you say, well, that's something people are going to apply? Like, I think Ryan was great for that reason. I think, boy, did he work to make it applicable.
Yeah.
What are you looking for people to apply?
I'm looking for people to apply. First of all, like we said earlier, it is so much information in the short term.
Yeah.
It's hard to take it all in, even taking copious notes.
Yes.
I'm looking for people to apply the things that they could use immediately to make a difference. Again, I'm gonna go back to a St. Marshall. She had the little phrase grace, right?
Yes.
You can take that phrase or acronym and apply that immediately.
Yep.
Not even the whole acronym, just one of the
things.
One of the letters in grace, whichever one you want.
That goes back to Ryan on inches.
Yeah. So for me, it was authenticity or authentic human or something like that. I remember. So what I'm looking for is people to be able to identify with just one little nugget at a time that they can apply to something in their immediate life that they can make a difference for themselves that then makes a difference for someone else.
I love it. Yeah. Well, we're going to land the plane now. Reggie, this has been fantastic. It's honestly an honor and a privilege to be able to spend time with you.
The honor is all mine, seriously.
And it's just much like this whole event, this whole group, the mission of Prosper to build a better table so everybody who wants a seat can get a seat.
Yep.
The word I use to describe this is good. By every definition of the word, good.
Absolutely.
Goodness, good. And I think this is all about having sticky fingers like a little kid and leaving indelible fingerprints of goodness in everything we touch here. It's a beautiful. This is something really, truly beautiful. You go to things as the Pitch Fest, and you're trying to sell a bunch of stuff. That's different. That's commercial. This is not a commercial event. This is a people event for a people business and a people industry, and it's people first. And I think the other thing that keeps occurring to me is leadership isn't just for business. We're leading families. We're leading each other. We're leading communities. And so what we do goes well beyond the halls of the businesses we work in and the businesses we touch. We're touching families. We're touching communities. We're growing. We're changing minds with what we're doing. We're leaving fingerprints of goodness
100%.
throughout. And I absolutely love that.
Fingerprints or breadcrumbs.
Absolutely. Here's a trail to get to there,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody, this has been Reggie Stover, Chief People Officer of Henny Penney, an exceptional human being, somebody who's served before, and I thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, we wrote a blank check, right?
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, we don't have to cash it. But for now, this is the ChatGTM podcast signing off here from the Prosper Accelerate Conference in Dallas, Texas. And the last thing I always like to close with is random acts of kindness. Sprinkle that stuff everywhere. It's free. You can change somebody's day, change their life, change their direction, and selfishly actually makes you feel kind of good when you do that too. So we'll be seeing you later, and have a blessed day, everybody.